Enola Holmes 3 Everything We Know. With the second movie recently being released and it proving to be a good build upon the first installment, the world of Enola Holmes in London in the 19th century is starting to feel very fleshed out and natural. With Mira Croft escaping after being captured by the police and John Watson arriving at Sherlock's door to be his flatmate, it's looking like a third movie for the franchise could well and truly be on the cards. So with that, I thought I'd take a look at all that was out there about the movie and give my theories and predictions to what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Enola Holmes 3 Everything We Know. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The release date. In terms of a release date for the movie, Netflix haven't officially announced if a third installment is in the pipeline, so its status is currently unknown. However, Millie Bobby Brown as Enola Holmes has proved to be a success on the platform for the 2 runs that it's had so far, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do give it the green light for a third time. Netflix usually waits a couple of weeks before dropping the news on new seasons of shows and sequels to movies. This is so that they can gauge the success and audience response, so I imagine we'll hear the green light news in a matter of weeks. If the movie does get commissioned, then when we look back at previous release dates of the first and second movies, they've dropped in the latter half of the year, with a 2-year gap in between them both. So taking that in mind, I would predict that we'd get a new movie between September and December of 2024. Henry Cavill and Millie Bobby Brown are 2 actors that are in very high demand, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's hard to get their time so soon after the release of the second movie. Hence why a 2-year gap is probably more realistic. The story. With regards to the story of the third movie that we're likely set to have on our screens, the second movie's ending didn't set up a sequel in the traditional sense where you can guess what's going to happen. However, in true Sherlock style, it did leave some clues. In the closing moments of the movie, we saw that Mira Croft had managed to escape the police after being arrested for the blackmailing and extortion of Lord McIntyre and Henry Lyon. So one would imagine that she'll be returning and causing more trouble for Sherlock and Enola to investigate. She seems to do it for fun, so there are no limits to the lengths that she will go to. In the post-credit scene, we saw that Dr. John Watson arrived at Sherlock's home and responded to the advert for a flatmate, so it looks as though we're going to see the both of them together in the next movie. We know that John Watson goes on to become a good friend of Sherlock in the future, in fact his best friend. So it will most likely be about their relationship building and the disruptive dynamic to start with. With regards to Enola, now that she's proved herself to others that are around her and also herself, whilst also realizing that she does need to have allies in order to be stronger, I think we could see her working with Sherlock more in the future, rather than just going at it alone. She'll have a new case that needs to be solved, as that's the main thing that the movie is about. But seeing as though the movies haven't focused on the stories in the books, it looks as though they'll be sticking to that trend and writing their own. Her relationship with Lord Tewksbury is something that I imagine we'll also go on to see in the third movie. She's opened up her heart to him, so I'm intrigued to see how that'll go. At both of the movies' core, there are messages around women's equality in England in the 19th century, so I believe we'll also see those undertones throughout the story being told. The cast. In terms of the cast, there were no major deaths in the second movie, which leads me to believe that most of the main cast will be returning. With the likes of Bessie and Sarah, I think their time in the franchise is done, just purely down to the fact that it was one of the cases that Enola took on. So I imagine we'll get new characters that are involved in the next case that Enola takes on. I think it's safe to say that we'll see Enola, Sherlock, and Lord Tewksbury return on screen. I imagine we'll also have Inspector Lestrade, as he's a semi-regular character in the stories, and we'll also have Enola's mother and Meredith. I'm going to throw a curveball out there and also say that we're going to see Mira Croft return, as she managed to evade the police once she was arrested at the end of the movie. It looks as though we're also set to be introduced to Dr. John Watson in the next movie too, which will make for an interesting dynamic between Sherlock and himself. Along with that, I imagine there'll be some secondary characters that are involved in the cases that Enola and Sherlock take on, so I'm intrigued to see who that'll be. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about Enola Holmes 3. I'm sure more information will be released as time goes on. So, there you have it, Enola Holmes 3 Everything We Know. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this movie? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.